All right, how's it going, everybody? It's Man Tomorrow here. I want to thank y'all for coming through. Make sure I hear the one in the chat. You can be able to hear me. Something wrong with this damn computer. Hold on a second. Yeah, I just use this phone then. It's not a big deal. So, this is something we got to talk about because this is what happens. And people have to recognize that these people pop up in broken environments. They always pop up in broken environments. And you have to realize that a lot of this stuff is kind of based on purely, and I mean purely, code of personality versus factual information. And you have to recognize, hold on a second, we get out of this hotel here. And one thing that you have to realize is that you're not required to believe anything from anyone without proof. Hold on a second. Gosh, what's going on, Sigma Creative? What's going on, Eisen? What's going on, Q497? What's going on, R Jizzle? All right. So, the first time I ran into one personally, this was like in 2000 and I'm gonna say 2003 is when I first like up front ran into an actual scammer. Ran into an actual scammer. This dude, he was in law enforcement circles. I'm not sure how he got brought into these law enforcement circles, but he was there anyway. This guy claimed to be this property owner and blah 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 and all this kind of stuff. When the only thing that he was doing is he had a bunch of lease option houses that he rented out to other people. So yes, he did look like he owned a lot of stuff. But once you drill down and actually look this dude up in his actual investments, you find out that this dude was not nearly the person who he thought he said he was doing. And so you have to understand that the first rule is the lie is never small. That's the first thing. The lie is never small. Every time you run into one of these type of people, it's going to be a fantastical thing that could not possibly be true. Now, we would have known that this stuff wasn't true if we simply had a real estate person who was actually in our circle. But since this was the quote unquote real estate person in the circle itself, the information may have seemed plausible to us, but to an actual professional, it would have looked weird. And asking basic questions, regarding the critical thinking of that actual process that it easily could have exposed this dude for who he was. So rule number one, the lie is always big. It's never small. So then we move on to another situation. Later on down the line, it was kind of the same type of real estate scam, but it was way different. This right here was during the subprime mortgage situation. Again, a person got out there, way over leveraged, had all this stuff, and he was running a pyramid scheme where he was promising people a certain amount of percentage on top of what they invested. But since people were more interested in the actual percentage of the investment, not the process that it took to actually get the percentage of the investment, he had a lot of people come into it. A lot of people come into it. And the only thing he was doing was accepting these people money and paying off these people, and accepting these many people money and paying off those people. So you have to understand that this scam is not, it's still a pyramid scheme because you just can't sit there and produce. The production is based on bringing new people into the environment itself. I'm going to explain pyramid schemes later on. But yes, he would take other people's money and give it to other people. What's wrong, Egon? Again, the lie is never small. It's always big. Same thing. And once these people lost all their money, because I told these people this was a pyramid scheme, this was highly implausible, that this person was bringing all this stuff around, and this guy was working within the same environment we was working. So we knew what the dude's salary was. Because, we was programmer at the time working at a specific company. But I was like, there ain't no way this dude's doing all this stuff. And we were right. There was no way he was doing all this stuff. Turns out he got busted. He got a ton of time in prison. And you know what it was there? Same process. People didn't know what was going on. You had a person who was highly over leveraged, and he came in with pure mouthpiece and just started lying to people, getting people to sign up for things. And so these are the ones that are in social settings around corporate America. And then, they're like the business types. The lady who raised all this money for some fangled medical cure that wasn't even out there. Billions of dollars this person has raised. And nobody thought to think like, wait a minute, this person dropped out of college. How is she coming up with medical cures and all this kind of stuff? Again, people get caught up with this stuff all the time. So let's go into how to spot these people. One, you have to know what a professional would look like in that setting. You have to know what a professional would look like in that setting itself. Because people love to stunt on information that they have, going to settings where people don't know much about things. For instance, there's really there's no rationale of listening to most of the financial advice on the internet. Okay? None of these people are certified investors. None of these people are accountants. None of these people are, CPAs. None of these people are even certified to give out the advice that they give. Anybody can follow. Anybody can follow. Anybody can follow charts. Anybody can make it look like pulling up a chart, looking at a certain type of stock without no proof of ownership of the stock, and make it look like, okay, well, I invested in this particular stock at this period of time when it was down, no verification, no nothing. Now look at where it's at now. So they take the track record of something that is guaranteed and they turn around and try to make it look like it's their own track record of investing. Yes, this happens a lot, all the time. Like most of these response videos, like, oh, look at this stuff, it's so high. I'm like, dude, listen, you got to prove that you're actually doing this stuff. Hold on a second. Because a lot of people don't get, once you're around actual professionals in that field, they make sure that they're not around the professionals in that field. They make sure that they're in or even around certain people who know nothing about the actual thing that they're talking about. It's like me. I'm in transportation. If somebody's coming around me trying to get me to work with a specific deal, the first thing I'm going to do is stop the conversation, bring in actual professionals to make sure that what I'm hearing is legit. And I'm not really paying attention to what the person is saying. I'm paying attention to the reaction of somebody who's actually in the field itself. That's right. Because you have to understand that an actual professional in the field can see how many holes there are within a BS story when it comes to what's true and what's not. Because see, I can't do that as a transportation person. But a person in real estate can be like, no, 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 that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. And it's like, look, what part of the actual system that you're in? And before you know it, this guy is bringing up a whole bunch of information that could be easily looked up online and that could be easily represented to people. It's the same as the people with the investing. They look at charts, they do all this other stuff, and they present it to you as their own track record. When the stuff is actually true, they're just reading off of it and just twisting the actual words of the situation to make it look like something that it's not. But see, you don't know that because see, you're invested in the outcome without understanding the actual process itself. And that's how they get you. Me personally, I want to understand something inside and out before I put my money to it. And there's nobody that's going to be able to sell me something quickly before I understand what's going on. Because you have to understand that with most of these scammers out here, a planned loss is what's going on here. They're actually planning for you to lose. And so here's how it goes. You put your money down. Verifiable guaranteed money. Down for a specific situation that you think you're going to benefit off of. Next thing you know, 6 or 8 months go by. Now, the money that you put down, hopefully it's not a substantial amount. You've already had that money. It's already gone. So as the months go on, the excuses get higher and higher. But you have to understand that how many other people are going through this same level of excuse making that you're going through. When it comes to you putting verified money down. How you get past this, you'll be like, okay, how am I insured against losses? That's one way that you get past it. First and foremost, how am I insured against losses? Because most BS artists hate this type of question. Because if something goes wrong, I should be insured against losses. If I'm getting you guaranteed money, then I want a guaranteed result. That's what it is. So when a person starts telling you that, oh, investment always involves the risk of loss, or you always want a damn guarantee, yes, I'm giving you guaranteed, verifiable U.S. currency. I want a guaranteed, verifiable result. You see, those people don't like guarantees. Guarantees mean that you have to prove your point. Guarantees means that you have to be able to show some proof. You have to show a track record. Hopefully you did all this before you got involved with this individual. Because see, people don't like when they have to prove their point. And the best position you could put an actual BS artist in is an actual place where they have to prove their point. Because most of these people go around other people with purely mouthpiece, knowing that these people don't know what's going on, knowing that these people want to benefit more than they are invested in the actual process itself, and they're not used to being questioned. They're not used to being asked the very simplistic questions about how does this stuff work. Because most of these people who do these types of things, they don't know how the system works either. It's a well-rehearsed playbook and plan that they don't know the ins and outs of. The only thing they know how to do is run their script, is run their game. They don't even understand how these things work. So once you start asking them questions, what's going on, NC Worker? What's going on, Question of the Prince? So once you start asking them questions, they'll get mad as hell. Ooh, they'll get mad. Because they don't like being questioned. Because your job in the situation is to do your part, and it's just to believe them beyond reasonable doubt without any proof. And when caught in a lie or caught presenting something that's totally implausible, then the burden of proof shifts from them being able to prove their point to look at how many sales I've got from this certain item. Look at the ratings that I get from a certain product that they present. Everything goes from the actual direct sort of proof that is provable to look at all these other people who benefited from my help and my assistance. You see, the other people who benefited from their help and their assistance is not proof. It's proof that those people believed you, but that's not proof of the actual concept itself, no matter what it is. So you have to realize most of this stuff is unproven. Then again, you have to know what professionals in this area look like, because professionals can give guarantees. Professionals know their product inside and out. Professionals know how to answer questions. Actually, professionals enjoy being questioned because it makes them sharper about the actual thing that they're actually presenting. People who don't like being questioned about their product, and I'm talking about simple and basic questions, not complex questions. We're talking about questions that are simple and basic. Professionals love those type of questions, and they already have answers for them. But see, the answers come with a guarantee that things are going to work. And if anybody wants you to put your money down without a guarantee, that's probably a person that you shouldn't be dealing with. It's like this. Let's say that you buy insurance and you're insuring a vehicle. The vehicle is supposed to be insured against all kinds of loss. But if somebody comes up to you and tell you that, well, you're not going to be covered under nearly no circumstances, then you'll be like, okay, I'll just go find me some insurance that does cover me for those circumstances. Then all of a sudden, since you want actual coverage for what you want, not just any type of coverage that's not going to cover you in case you do get hit, you have to understand what's behind the product that they're selling. Now me, I used to be an insurance producer. I used to sell life insurance and health insurance. Now what goes along with this particular system was the actual coverages that you sold that really didn't cover people at all were the coverages that gave the greatest amount of commission to the actual insurance seller itself. And that's still the particular principle behind somebody scamming you. They're deliberately selling you something that is not going to give the coverage that you know that you want, but see, it doesn't pass the acid test because the moment it's actually introduced into reality, that's when you start to see that, wait, hold on a second. I thought I was covered for these, and these things, and then all of a sudden you got to go into the fine print. Hold on a second. The person who sold me this quote-unquote product told me that I was going to be covered under these things. But when you actually send the actual bill into the insurance company, you find out you're not being covered for anything. That's exactly how this scam works. You see, they want to sell you the idea up front, but they want to be long freaking gone by the time it takes for the actual idea to be verified. That's the same type of scam. They don't want to be around. When rubber meets the road, when this stuff meets reality, whenever you're trying these social things within settings and you end up getting in a lot of trouble, they're not going to be there testifying for you. They're not going to be there trying to help you get out of these things. Then these individuals, the person who scammed you in the first place, they blame you for getting involved with them. Yes, they blame you. Even though you didn't know what you were looking at, you didn't know what was going on, you get all the blame. Why? Because you should have known better. That's what it's going to come down to. It's not going to be explicitly told to you like that. But then they're going to rely heavily upon the investment always have the risk of loss associated with it. Well, that wasn't part of the mouthpiece speech that you absorbed to make this type of play in the first place. But that's what they're going to lean back on the moment things don't work out right. They gonna do that too. Nah, man, nah, man, you zagged when you should have zigged. What are you talking about? You controlling this whole thing. No, man, we just came in at a bad time. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. How did I come in at a bad time? This is why you got to understand that these people are everywhere. And what you have to do every time you get screwed over, you take your ass down to the prosecutor's office and you talk to them about what happened. You fill out a police report. You call them out there, you leave with a police report. Yeah, they may put you through a whole bunch of stuff and say, oh, it's a civil matter. No, I want a police report. I want to report this. Every single time you go through one of these situations where you don't get what you're supposed to get out of a situation, you take your ass to law enforcement. That way, you build up a legal track record because this person or persons or a group of people are not running this scam on just one person. They're running this particular operation on a whole bunch of people. This is why it's up to the public to make sure that these things are exposed, because there's a lot of people who want to come in and give BS information for a very specific result until it's tried, and then they blame you for things going wrong. But see, you don't know those type of things if you take a loss and you keep your loss secret. No, you have to protect the general public with your losses. So for the next part of this, we're going to go into like more of the social setting. There's no reason or rationale for truth to be bypassed from the person who's supposed to present it, because the person who's presenting the concept, if the concept comes from a person, then the person should produce the result of that concept. If I'm a real estate investor, which I'm trying to get into the waters of, but there's so many BS artists, it really, shies me away from really getting off into it like I want to. You always have these people come around. Oh, I'm $1 million investor. Oh, I've been doing this right here. Okay, fine. Let's look at these tax returns. Why would you want to look at my taxes? Yeah, because it shows the actual things that you've actually been dealing with throughout the year. No matter whether you're getting residuals on these types of things, whether you're getting tons of write-offs for specific types of real estate, all this type of stuff. There's tons of tax write-offs in real estate. And I'm not going to be looking at your taxes. An actual CPA is going to be looking at your taxes. So that way, you got to make sure the story lines up with the actual presentation of the actual product at hand. Yeah, because once you start going into the actual verified system of things, people start to freeze up, as they should. Because a person who's BSing you, they know what the standard and the level of proof is of actually proving the point beyond reasonable doubt. They know that. They've always known that. Because what a scam artist does is they are very evasive around proving the actual point itself. Because the tax returns are not going to lie. The tax returns are going to say whether you had a good year or a bad year. The tax returns are going to show when or if you got rid of a property and for how much profit that you made on it versus when you actually picked it up. This is why people say if they're allowing their taxes, they'll lie about anything. I went into a situation like that too. There was a scam artist, dude. I'll be very specific. I was working at this company. This is when I first got out the military. I was working for this company, and this guy was doing exactly this. you know, trying to pressure you into getting a house, pressure you to get in a place. I mean, you know, back then, houses in like Aurora and Denver, you know, like most of it wasn't built up, so you know, you can still probably get a good house for like 150, especially like in the early 2000s. You're talking about 150,000. 150,000. I think your actual mortgage would be 700 or 800 a month. But that's much higher than the $500 or $600 a month for rent that you would be paying. What's going on, Jay Sean? So you have these individuals go around, and this particular individual was a supervisor at my job, so he knew how much money I made. And so it was heavily pressuring me trying to get into a house. When it was a house that he was upside down in, and he was just trying to get the stuff off of his books. So he was just trying to come up to me to try to make it look like I wasn't a responsible individual because I didn't own a home at that time. I didn't own one. But once I started talking to a realtor and started looking at the actual deal that this person was trying to get me set up with, the realtor was telling me that no, that dude's upside down in that house, and this is not a good area to buy in. Blah 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 blah. Okay, I had all the information that I should present to this actual individual about why I shouldn't get into this deal. You know what happened when I presented that information to this person? That person fired me from the job because he could not stand the fact that he was questioned on his actual BS and actually knew that, yeah, getting a house is probably a good idea, but buying a house in this area at this particular time is not a good deal. I mean, the concept was good, but he was preying on the fact that I didn't know anything about the information at hand. So buying a house is a good idea, but buying a house under these circumstances, his circumstances that he was trying to get out of, was an extremely bad idea. So that brings me to my next point. Most of these individuals who present this type of information, they're doing it in a predatory fashion. They're doing it in a predatory fashion. It's always a predatory fashion. And you have to understand, with these individuals who present these types of scams to people, it's a high to them to present this information to a person who don't know anything about it and to get a result out of them. It's a high to them. Yes, it's predatory. Yes, it's environmental based. This is why they always stay at the bottom presenting this type of information. They never go into higher class environments where people are far more savvier and they're far smarter, because far smarter people ask far smarter questions. Because most of these scams can be easily thrown off by basic questions around critical thinking about the specific topic itself. What's going on, anti-gravity? So that's what you got to learn. It's a high for these people to do this. It's a power move for these people to do this. And deep down, they think they are so much better than you that they can present to you BS information and get a result out of you. And if you don't, quote unquote, pay them or do exactly what they say, they're going to try to destroy you. Just like they did in that specific case and scenario, where the dude fired me from that job, off the job site, because I wouldn't buy a house. Now, I still bought a house anyway, but I just didn't buy a house under those specific circumstances, because there was really no reason to move over into that area of town, given all the activity that it was in that area of town. Now this is how Denver is. Now, anybody who lives in Denver can know. You can have $1 million houses on one street. You can go one street over, and I'm talking about one street. One block over, it's the hood. Just like that, it's the hood. This street right here could be fully paved, everything good. You could go one street over and it's hell on earth. That's what it is. But see, most of this stuff can be actually avoided by the singular person that's being preyed on within the environment itself. One thing that has kept me from getting scammed, and I watch other people go through, I'm like, dude, that's a pyramid scheme. That's a pyramid scheme. Especially with highly religious people, they always fall for the pyramid scheme. And when you tell them it's a pyramid scheme, they don't believe you because this person is religious. They would never be able to do these types of things to me. What are you talking about? I've been knowing this person for 20 years. Like, yeah, the person that you know for 20 years is selling you some nonsense right now. I don't use the word gentrified because a real estate market isn't really controlled by anybody except for the people who bring value to the area. But people move in and they make things better. They bring the actual values up, and if you can't pay the taxes, you out of there. So you have to understand this. There's nothing wrong with saying no. Because when you say no to a person, no matter what they're selling to you, the word no means they have to bring more factual information to the table so that way you can make a decision towards yes. If you tell a person no and they get mad as shit that you said no to them, now we have an insulting of ego problem rather than presenting of an actual factual situation problem. You have to understand, nobody should be able to engage or garner. You have to get rid of this sense of greed, this personal sense of greed, this personal sense of benefiting without understanding a specific process. You got to get rid of that. If you do not get rid of that, a lot of people is going to walk up to you and get all types of value out of you. So most of these scams are all because you can't use the word no. It's the most powerful word in the universe, especially when dealing with these people. No, I don't believe you. I need more time to think about this. Now, if a person hears you say, I need more time to think about this, and they're still trying to close you, that should actually make some alarm bells go off too. People want to close on you before you actually know what you're actually trying to be invested in. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing going away soon. They shouldn't be able to say, well, you know what, other people are benefiting. Well, I'm like, dude, just hang up the phone. Again, owning a company and doing financially well, there's a lot of people out there who can like obtain the financial information from your company. There's a lot of software out there that skims this information based off of public records. And these individuals give you a call. And what they try to do is they try to get you into a high interest loan. Now, I don't need the money. I'm down here making a lot of money. But at the end of the day, these people who don't know anything about how the transportation industry works think that you need money to grow your business. You don't need money to grow your business in actual transportation. You need business to grow business within transportation. Anybody can have a whole bunch of trucks. Anybody can have a whole bunch of trailers. But if your ass ain't got a whole bunch of customers to go along with both of those things, you're not going to make it within this industry. You're going to have to exclusively do business based off load boards. But see, most people who don't know anything about transportation think that they're going to be able to just put all these trucks on the road and they're going to be able to run this, okay, well, I'm just going to drive it till it breaks mentality. And that's not how it works. A, a lot of people don't get that trucking companies are not going out of business. Trucking companies are actually getting rid of their legal liabilities by changing the name of their company, by keeping all of the pensions, going out of business, and buying all this stuff before it hit the auction at a discount and putting their company under a different name. A lot of larger companies are doing this. Actually, they've been doing it for like the past 10 or 15 years. But see, if you don't know that's what's happening, a lot of people will try to sell you on the fact, oh, there ain't no money to be made in transportation, blah, blah, blah. Again, people are just trying to scam you out of a particular future. This happens a lot when you talk to older people in the industry. I don't talk to anybody in this industry who is 40 plus or 50 plus, who's been in a truck longer than 10 years. There is nothing we can talk about when it comes to transportation. You can't tell me how anything works because you're a driver. There's nothing wrong with drivers. You need drivers for things to work. But when you're a driver trying to comment on industry related things from a business perspective, now you're kind of out of your league. But see, you have to know what's the level of expertise that this person is going to have from their background and experience level. You have to know that. This is why I say you should never be spreading yourself too thin out here. Every single thing that you can potentially concentrate on leads to other things. There is no reason to be focused in 5 different directions when you can be focused in one. Because the one direction that you focus in is going to split off into all other directions once you master that. Once you care about the actual creation point of what you're actually in, those things tie to all different types of things. All different types of things that are not related doesn't connect to one thing. This is why I say, if somebody hands me a business card and I see more than 2 things on this business card that this person claimed to be good at, I hand them their business card back. Give me a business card based on a one specific business that you are in. Don't hand me a business card with 20 different things on it that you can maybe do well and you maybe can't do well. That tells me that your mind is all over the place. And that also tells me that you're probably not going to do a professional job on my stuff because of all this other stuff that's on this business card. You have to understand, simply, your money is yours. It's your own hard-earned money. You don't have to give it away to people who are just trying to scam you out of stuff. You're not obligated to do business with anybody. You're not. And you don't have to suspend disbelief in actual proof to keep a concept going. There's no business proposal or social interaction or anything else that requires your suspension of belief in order for this stuff to be true. If somebody's trying to get rid of your critical faculties from the jump to get you to go along with a concept that they claim to be right, that's obviously a bad move. And you should get out of there as soon as possible. If you know this much about what they actually know about, they should be certified by somebody. That's another thing. People got to be certified. Are there bad professionals? Yes, but the bad professionals are still certified in something. A certifying body is the place that holds you responsible in case your professionalism gets out of order. If you get out financial information, there's no reason for you to not be certified as a financial advisor. How can you give out financial information and you're not a financial advisor? How can you come up with social answers to issues if you haven't had your concept double blind test studied by actual professionals within that field? Yeah, I believe proof. I believe the proof when it comes from actual the psychological arena, the medical arena, or the law enforcement arena. Let's see what they say about this specific thing. Or, the legal arena, which actually encompasses all those things itself. You have to understand that you're not going to benefit by not knowing about the thing that you're investing in. That's not how that works. You got to stop thinking that waiting on a moonshot is the way you're going to invest. No, dude, invest in the understanding of what you're actually getting into. It's the understanding of the product is where the money comes in at. It's understanding the process of how this stuff comes together. That's where the money's at. The money isn't in just putting money down on equipment or else on an actual system that has been exploited by other people, and that's how you're going to benefit. That's not how that works. You got to be invested, all the way invested. This is how you stop getting scammed and ripped off by other people. You can stop this. You can stop this. It doesn't matter how much a person try to humiliate you, because you have a lot of humiliators out there. A lot of them. Believe my concept or X. Sign this document or you're going to, face some type of harm or face some type of penalty or not get some type of unproven result that this person claims that they get from other things. That's what I'm saying. You got a lot of people out here coming up with all types of stuff being sold, making all these types of claims. Another way a scam works is they need an environment of not being questioned in order for this thing to work. You got to know what the stuff look like. You got to know, okay, this is this concept. Okay, this concept is attached to this type of professional. This type of professional, somebody should be held responsible for what's coming out of this person's mouth. I want to make sure that you are held responsible by somebody within what you're actually presenting to me. To me, I know a lot of damn good mechanics, but guess what? Your ass is going to be ASE certified before you work on my stuff. I don't care if you can rebuild an engine for $1,500. I'm never bringing my equipment to you. Why? You're not certified. Professionals have no problem getting professional certifications. There's no reason to just get by. You get more money by being certified. Yes. People want to come to you especially down here in the South. Oh yeah, man. I could build a deck for you. Fine. How much? 1,500. Okay, that's fine. Okay, are you licensed, bonded, and insured? What's the name of your company? How long you been in business? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why you ask for all that? Yes, because I want to hold your ass responsible if something goes wrong. You know what the person does? Walk off. I tried to rent a limousine down here 4 years ago for one of my homeboys' weddings. Yeah, sure are. I went to this place. You could clearly see the limousines outside. You know, you have a party bus. You know, you have Escalade, and you know, like the normal Lincoln Town car, you know, situation. I go in. Like, look, I'm gonna need this car this many hours because it's booked by hours. Well, that's how limousines work. They're booked by hours. And normally a booking hour to where you have to pay for the hour beginning and the hour end as an actual deposit. So let's say you're renting 5 hours. You have to pay for 7 hours and then they give you your deposit back. Because I don't know if you ever own a limousine company, no one's ever ready when it's time to go. So I went up to the individual because I owned a limousine company before. And I know how things get double booked and triple booked. So I'm like, look, I'm gonna rent the car on this night. Well, it was a graduation, no, no, it was a wedding. It was a wedding. Sorry, it was a wedding. Homeboy's wedding. So what most people want to do with limousines is they want to drop you off and then they want to pick you up from the actual place. So what these people do is they book 3 and 4 events on one night. And that's how everybody's late getting where they have to go because this person is working 3 and 4 events. So when I went up there, I'm like, look, I want to book this car, but during the time that this car is booked, I want it sitting outside. And the dude blowed up and he got really mad and upset and angry. And it's like, I knew why he didn't want to do business like that. You see, the reason why he didn't want to do business like that is because he wanted to double, triple, and quadruple book the car for other people around town because the city's not that big. So if you say that you want to book the actual car and you want the car sitting outside, that stops him from getting a whole bunch of money from other people who he's doing the same thing for. But see, if you don't know that in advance, you're going to book a limousine and all of a sudden the car's not going to be around until you're ready to go. Because most of these people double and triple book the car so that way it's never around when you need it. But it's always there when you need to take your ass home. What's going on, Mike B? And this person did not like the fact that I wanted the car that I was booking to be outside the event where it was being booked and it couldn't leave for any reason. But see, if you don't know these types of things going in, you can easily get ripped off. Let me give you another situation. There was a place that we were supposed to be renting for an event that we were supposed to be putting on. I don't know whether you know it or not, but air conditioning in the South is still considered a luxury. And there's a lot of buildings that you would rent that do not have air conditioning. But see, they don't tell you that. They'll give you a walkout of the space. And they'll give you a walkout of the space early in the morning when it's cool outside or cooler outside. So the actual ambient temperature of the actual building itself is not being shown when you actually want to book your event at night. Judge Webb, thanks for the $5 super sticker. So they would take you through the actual place. Oh yeah, you know, the space looks good. Yeah, it looks great, but it don't have air conditioning. But see, you don't know that because it's not nighttime. It's not 10 o'clock at night with music going and grills and all that kind of stuff. So I asked for the individual. I'm like, okay, this is great. It looks great. You got thermostats on the wall. You don't even know if they work. Because I've been to a couple places and I've rented them where a thermostat is clearly on the wall, but the thermostat isn't really connected to anything. So a person is renting this place and you've already rented it, they've already taken your money, and you get in there and you realize this stuff don't even have air conditioning. What's going on, Cedric Webb? What's going on, Paul? What's going on, Edmund Carter? So, so I put in the contract, look, the building has to be an ambient temperature of 70 degrees. That you have to prove is 70 degrees And if not, we're not going to pay for this building. The guy got super mad, upset, rage. I can't, man, everybody want to rent this building. I'm like, cool. Do you have central air and central heating? I do. Okay, let me see your power bill. I know what a central air and central heating bill looks like in the South. It looks incredibly high. But see, this individual didn't like the fact that I knew that he didn't have central air and central heating in that building. And the only way that he wanted me to come to that building was in the morning when it was cooler outside, where he could make the building pass as if it did have central air and central heating when it clearly didn't. But he was trying to get me to close. He was trying to get me to buy the building. No, no, I'm sorry, not buy the building, but sign the rental agreement. Sign the rental agreement. Put your deposit down. Sign the rental agreement. I'm like, but that's not my priority. My priority was making sure that I had a building that was going to be up to my standards, because I've already been through this in the city before, where we rented a building and this person didn't even have central air and central heating, and it was hot as hell up in that building. We're talking about July in Mississippi with no air conditioning, right? So you have to understand what you're being sold to. Why do you have to close so fast? And what's important to you? You better go in making sure that why you went into that situation is still important to you. Because if your level of importance is switched from what you actually want to what they actually want you to want, they always going to have an upper hand on you. They're always going to have an upper hand on you. Always. Again, there are bad professionals that can give scam-ridden results. At least you can hold them responsible. But a lot of these people are not certified by anybody. They're taking in all this money. They provide no type of result. And whenever you ask them for any type of proof, here we go. The fire-breathing dragon. Here we go. We can't even talk about what's true and what's false. Somehow there has to be an advertisable position that nobody's owed. There is nothing that you have to get into very quickly in this society. Nothing. You don't have to get into anything quickly. Listen, you have to care more about things working appropriately before you get involved with them. Because we're going to have a conversation about skills and abilities versus schools. We're going to have to need to have that conversation. Because a lot of people are going to school for BS reasons, and then they expect all these results that come from school without having the skill. We have to have a direct, targeted discussion on that. Because there's a lot of misinformation out there about what the results are when you get done with school. But back to this specific issue. Yes, scam artists are going to be able to talk very well in front of you. But talking well doesn't really match up with presenting proof well. Because proof is easy. Proof is easy. If a person have all this financial information, we should be able to see some financial statements. Not hard. Me, when I did trucking videos, I turned the actual thing on and showed you the money that was being made out here. That's not hard. That's very easy. If you're actually in the industry, the way you're in the industry with, and you're actually trustworthy in the industry that you're in, you get email offers all the time about we need to move this very quickly. We worked with you in the past. Here's $7,000. We need this stuff done ASAP. What's going on, Rayhana? Hanma. But that's how easy proof is. Proof is very easy. You got to stop thinking that the belief in the concept outweighs the proof of the concept itself. You can't do those types of things. Because it's very easy to get caught up in a cult of personality. It's very easy to get caught up around a believable idiot. it's very easy to get caught up around the cool idiot, the cool uncle, which everybody's capitalizing on YouTube. You know, all these misguided boys and men and women around, and everybody wants that cool uncle experience. That's fine. But is this actual individual in a place to actually give you results? Or are they just stirring the pot at the bottom without giving anybody any results? That's how that works. There's really no real reason to believe anybody without proof. You have to understand that a professional have no problem handing you certifications. When you walk into a doctor's office, what do you see on the wall? You see every single school that this person graduated from, and whether or not they graduated with honors or not. The same thing with an attorney's office. You walk in their office, the first thing you see, this is my accolades. This is why you should trust me. This is why you should believe me. These are the things that verify who I am. Most BS artists, you walk into their offices or anywhere else, there's nothing on the wall. Why? They don't want to be tied to anything. The only thing they want is your money up front, your cooperation up front, without you asking the least amount of questions as possible. And that's how that stuff works. But see, if you don't know how that works before you get involved in stuff, and the only thing you want to do is benefit without understanding, this is how you get wrapped up in it. Now, you become the plague carrier for the actual virus itself based on silence, rather than just being honest with yourself like, yeah, I got ripped off by this person under these circumstances. Yes, this stuff doesn't work. I've tried it and it doesn't work. I'm not going to sit here and be quiet while other people go through this stuff. Go on, D-Darrell. This is your money. And you're not going to make more of it by not understanding a process of getting into it. If you want to be in a field, then be in a field. If you want to do a job, take your ass out there and get certified. You got to specialize. The money comes with specialization and the location where your specialization is actually needed. That's how you stop getting scammed. This is how you stop it. You stop it because you understand the process of creation is very specific. The process of creation have a specific input, a process, and an output with verification. Every single process, no matter what it is. Or exploiting broken processes because they're actually benefiting off a broken process. They do that a lot too. But what they're preying on is they're preying on your gullibility. And there's nothing wrong with not knowing the answer to certain things. This is why you don't make a quick ass decision when you should be going towards more professionals and have other people look at this stuff. While I'm online, people always send me, hey man, should I use this dispatch service? Should I use this, that, and the other? I might get them on the phone. I had to do it today. Dispatch service today. For a person, he didn't know the value of the dispatch service that he was using. He was like, okay, I just got into the transportation industry and I got a call by somebody who wanted to do a dispatch service. I'm like, well, how do you get my information? Okay, when you register for your DOT number and all that type of stuff, your stuff is public information, very public information. And there are ways that you can get that public information and they put it in there into their auto dials and then they dial you with it. And they'll hop on the phone These people, the phone ring off the hook. They say no to one person. They just ring, 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 and they just run the script over to everybody else, and they maybe get 2 or 3 persons out of that day. I told this person, look, we're on the phone with a dispatching company. You ask this one question: how much money do you gross for a driver in the lower 48? And can you prove it to me by going to Zoom and showing me a screenshot of your top earners that you get money for while dispatching them? The reason why you ask that question is the reason why you're getting a dispatch company in the first place is because you don't know what you're doing. And you're depending on this other individual that you just met to leverage their connections to get you paid. Most dispatching companies are pieces of garbage. All dispatching companies promise a certain type of thing. Nearly no dispatching companies will actually turn on their computer within their system and show you their top earners for the week. So that way you could be able to see where they went and how much money they made per mile. Because if you use a dispatch company, they should be able to guarantee you a certain amount of money per week because they want a guaranteed amount of money from you to do business with them, right? So the guarantee is you want the guaranteed money out of the circumstance, but you don't want to guarantee me getting into you with the circumstance. The person didn't realize that he was scammed because I asked this one question. I asked the question 3 times to the individual, and I had to hang up on him because he did everything in the world except for handed me the hard numbers on what he was able to produce. Because a lot of people are preying on the gullibility of people don't know what they're doing when they first enter the industry. This is how they end up doing all the business on load boards because they don't know what they're doing. No, you cannot run a viable trucking operation from a load board, not for a long period of time. The moment that you have the overhead of a house and a life and that type of stuff, yeah, something goes wrong, you're done. That happens all the time too. That happens a hell of a lot more than you think. A hell of a lot more than you think. This is why I tell people to do their own research when it comes to this. Because here's when you're going to do the research. If you do the research in this specific circumstance, you're going to run into the same situation that you ran into right here. I ran into this situation. The first 4 trucks I had, 4 different manufacturers. I had a Freightliner, I had a Volvo, I think I had a Mack, and I had, like, believe it or not, Ford used to make semi trucks. I had one of those, old one. Then I ran into this situation that you ran into, Edmund. I had 4 trucks, none of them really worked. I had to go to different specialized mechanics for each. Every single truck had different parts manufacturers, different part numbers, different everything. Because I didn't do the research. But I was expecting everything to go right without the research. You see, that's a scam that you play on yourself when you're not really invested or involved in the process itself. Don't be invested in the actual solutions. The solutions are going to be there. The benefits are going to be there. But you got to make sure you put your time in. And even though I wasted a hell of a lot of money in all this equipment, I had to get rid of all this stuff. And I had to specialize. And I had to do exactly what you're doing. And I'm like, look, okay, my brother's a mechanic. What years of truck should I mess with? And why? This right here, everybody going, okay, got it. And that's what I stuck with. Yes, you can run this scam on yourself, man. The one that you research. Stop trying to come into this business without risking anything. That's not how it works. My situation and setup is different. I have a master mechanic on my side. It doesn't matter what level of truck that you're interested in. The only thing that matters is the year, make, model, and the engine. The type of engine in that type of environment for a specific number of years. That's the only thing that matters. Because if you got to understand this, mechanics will tell you what they want to work on, and mechanics will tell you what to stay away from. And every single mechanic is going to have nearly the same type of answer to every single question. But see, you got to get into the process of asking these questions every single time you go by a shop, every single time you see a tow truck person. But see, you got to have your eyes open to see what type of trucks are on the side of the road every single time you're driving through cities, because it's the same type of truck. Me, I use a specific model and specific years. Now, they're damn near impossible to find because I gave out the information of what I use. But yeah. Yep, that is a reason. But then again, they know that people want to benefit more than they're invested. That's a problem you can fix yourself. There's nothing wrong with knowing what you're doing. That takes time. That takes research. That takes a lot of mentoring, a lot of help, a lot of checking with people, a lot of checking on other people's information. You're going to have to check on this information to the point where you know somebody is full of it the moment that they start talking that nonsense. The moment that things get a little bit too fanciful for reality. Those had some good years too. And the actual Max Force engine damn near ran my brother out of business. Yeah, that Max Force engine. But they went back to the ISX engine and now they're straight. Until you actually need some help on the ISX engine. And then you're going to run into ISX engine money. You have to understand, man, that a lot of people have not missed their opportunity in life to produce in a well-formatted manner. They have made the decision specifically to not produce in a well-specific manner because they wanted to take shortcuts. They wanted to take shortcuts for the specific reason of benefiting off of somebody else's gullibility. That's the only reason why they decided not to specialize. That's the only reason why they promote an actual system that doesn't make that much sense. Because they are addicted to broken environments. You have to learn how to specialize. That's how you get out of that. Because there's a lot of people around here, especially right now after the COVID situation. Oh yeah, man, there's a lot of people, and I'm not talking about the people, the verified people within the space who actually do talk about the crypto. I mean, you know, your Linnells, your Ohings, your Tie Cities, your, you know, brain trust individuals, you know, other people within the environment who is actually invested in it. You got the everyday dude out here talking about crypto now. That was a dude in Mississippi trying to talk to me about crypto. Trying to talk to me about crypto. So, dude, you can't be trying to close on this information, man. It's not going to work for you. You don't owe anybody anything, man. So with that said, I've been here for over an hour. It's time to get back up in this hotel here. I want to thank you guys for coming through. You guys have got to understand that you got to learn how to spot scammers and fakes, man. This is going to be a lifelong thing because there's always somebody who want to exploit a system without being invested in it properly. And you have to know the difference between what and what. The stuff that you actually get in life should be well researched, earned, and kept. It's not about just earning the stuff. It's about keeping it. It's not about earning the stuff. It's about not giving it away for frivolous ass reasons. You're only going to get that if you specialize. So with that said, I want to thank you people for coming through and being here for an hour or more for me tonight. You guys have a really nice. Wait, hold on a second. I appreciate. Yeah, Tommy. Yeah, yeah, man. It has to be said, man, because like after my father and grandfather died, man, I really never really ran into older adults who actually even tried to get me, you know, informed up on how this works. And Denver, like any other big city, got a lot of scam artists in it. A lot. Tommy, thanks for the 499 super sticker. Yeah, but you have to understand, man, that they're looking for that out of the basic individual. They're really just trying to run a dominatrix service on you. That's based on you believing in without proof. You guys have got to keep your money, man, that you earn out here. I don't want you guys stuck at the bottom. There's no excuse to be at the bottom now. People are hopping all over us. And I'm talking about us as actual men, not us as actual, you know what I'm saying, the skin color thing. So look, you got to be able to notice a fake when you see one and be able to ask for proof and demand proof and don't let go of what proof actually looks like because they're trying to submit you or pull you away from proof so that way you can believe in cult of personality. And that's the worst place that you could possibly be in because that does not serve you at all. So with that said, on the Man Tomorrow, I want to thank you people for coming through again. You guys have a really nice night. Make sure you hit the like on the video whenever you before you leave if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much. Have a really nice day. Peace.